Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something maybe a little different. We're exploring not a dense academic paper, but actually a book review.
That's right.
Specifically, we're diving deep into the review of The Story of Jesus. You know, it's that foundational illustrated Bible storybook you see everywhere.
Often published by like the American Bible Society or Zondervan,
Yeah.
big names.
Exactly. And it's not just, any kid's book. This thing has reached millions of people all over the world. So our source today is this really meticulous review. It looks at different versions, different editions, and really unpacks what makes this book stick around, why it's so impactful.
Yeah, and our mission really is to figure out why. Why does this seemingly simple book mean so much to so many? We're going to pull out what the review says about, the content, its style, its influence, because at its heart, the book's goal is pretty clear. Introduce core Christian ideas using, well, really simple language, and importantly, those engaging pictures.
Okay, so let's get right into it. What is this book, fundamentally? The review calls it a simplified illustrated retelling. Life, ministry, death, resurrection of Jesus. Pretty straightforward.
And crucially, it pulls directly from the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's its foundation.
Right. Now, who is it actually for? The review points this out clearly.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's not just for little kids, like ages 4 and up. It's also aimed at new believers, people in Sunday school, even whole families.
That broad appeal seems really key to why it's used so much, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's sort of a strategic masterstroke, you could say. It cuts across different groups where, a more niche book just wouldn't land. That's why you see it everywhere, from homes to classrooms.
Okay, let's unpack the style. The review uses phrases like simple, clear, and emotionally resonant. And it specifically mentions avoiding theological jargon. It really sticks to the events and teachings, almost like a story.
Exactly. The narrative approach.
So what events are we talking about? The review lists the big ones. You've got the birth in Bethlehem, obviously, the baptism by John.
Right.
Then his miracles. Healing the sick, feeding the crowds, calming the storm. A classic.
And the parables, too. Things like the Good Samaritan, the lost sheep. Very well-known stories.
Yeah, and then it moves through to the end. The Last Supper, the crucifixion, and finally the resurrection. It covers the whole arc.
And what's fascinating, and the review notes this, is how it keeps this tone of reverence and emotional depth. Even with its simplicity, it doesn't feel, childish or condescending.
That's a really good point. How does it manage that, conveying something so profound in such a direct way?
It's a tricky balance, but it seems to work.
And maybe part of the answer is the illustrations. The review calls them a major highlight.
Oh, definitely. A huge part of the appeal.
And there's variety there too, right? Sometimes realistic and classical, like soft watercolors, muted tones.
Other times more vivid, cartoonish stuff, clearly for the really little ones. Yeah, and the review points out how these pictures manage to convey both, well, emotion, but also a kind of historical authenticity. You see it in the clothes, the buildings, the character designs.
And Jesus himself, how's he typically shown?
Usually very calm and gentle, often in those traditional white robes with a, compassionate look. It reinforces the whole message visually. It's quite effective.
So it's more than just telling a story. The review talks about its educational and spiritual value. Let's dig into that. First off, biblical literacy. It gives kids and even adults a solid grounding in the main gospel stories.
A starting point, yeah.
Then there's moral teaching. It emphasizes things like love, forgiveness, humility, faith, core values.
Absolutely. Very central themes.
And it's used as an evangelistic tool, right? Often given away free.
Oh, yeah, frequently. In missions, hospitals, outreach events.
Yeah.
It's designed for that, too.
And finally, family devotion. Lots of families use it for reading together, maybe at bedtime or on Sundays.
It fits that niche perfectly.
So it kind of makes you wonder, how does one pretty short book manage to do all of that? Teaching, evangelism, family time.
That's a great question. I think the key insight is its adaptability. Because the core message is so simple and accessible, it just works across all these different needs. It bridges gaps.
Okay, let's talk strengths. The review lists quite a few.
Yeah, it's generally very positive.
Accessible for all ages, we covered that. Faithful to scripture, even though it's simplified.
That's important. It sticks to the source.
Beautifully illustrated, a major plus. Great as a first introduction to Jesus.
Definitely a gateway.
And its global reach is kind of staggering. Used in missions everywhere, translated into tons of languages.
And if you zoom out, that global reach, all those translations, It just underscores its impact, doesn't it? It shows how powerful a foundational text it's become. It's really quite something, distilling these big ideas so effectively.
Okay, no book is perfect. The review is honest about the weaknesses too. What are they?
Right. Limitations are important to understand.
The main one seems to be the simplified theology. Good for access, but the review says it's not for deep study.
Exactly. It won't get into, say, complex doctrines about the Trinity or detailed theories of atonement. It sticks to the narrative.
Makes sense. It's also short, so it naturally leaves out some context or maybe more complex stories from the Gospels.
Yeah, you lose nuance sometimes.
And there are interpretational choices. The review mentions some retellings might tweak minor details here and there.
Which is probably inevitable when you simplify.
And lastly, variations in quality. Depending on who published it, some versions might feel a bit generic or maybe printed cheaply.
Yeah, that can happen with high-volume publications.
So it really highlights that trade-off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Its biggest strength, simplicity, is also, in a way, its biggest limitation for someone wanting more depth.
Precisely. It's built as an intro, a starting point, not a comprehensive study. And that's really crucial for you, the listener, to grasp its intended purpose.
So putting it all together, who does the review say this book is actually best for?
Okay, the list is pretty clear.
Children, obviously. Ages 4 to 10 is the sweet spot mentioned.
Yep. And parents teaching their kids about Jesus. Makes sense.
New believers wanting just a quick, easy overview.
Perfect for that.
Groups like Vacation Bible School, Sunday schools, outreach events. Seems ideal there.
Definitely fits those contexts.
And interestingly, even adults who just want a visual, maybe devotional summary of Jesus' story.
Yeah, it serves that purpose too. A quick refresher or a gentle read.
So what's the final score?
A strong 4.5 out of 5 stars, according to the review. Pretty high praise.
And the final verdict, any key quote?
Yeah, the review wraps it up nicely. It says, the story of Jesus remains a timeless and gentle introduction to the life and love of Jesus Christ. This book distills the heart of the gospel into a touching and visually appealing experience.
Nice summary. But there's a crucial caveat, right?
Yes, very important. The review stresses it's a great first step into the Gospels.
What?
Not a replacement for reading the Bible itself. It's an introduction, not the whole story.
Right. That feels like a key distinction. So after all that, what does this mean for you listening right now?
Well, I think what we've really seen is how a book that seems, on the surface, quite simple, can actually be this incredibly powerful, really accessible way into a complex and profound story. This whole deep dive into the review, it just highlights how important and impactful that first step can be, in any kind of learning.
That's a great point. And maybe for a final thought, something to mull over. If this simplified, illustrated book can have such a huge global impact, what does that tell us? What does it say about the power of these foundational stories and about how we as humans find creative ways to understand them, whatever our age or background? It kind of makes you think about how we approach learning anything new and complex. Maybe that simple first step, that accessible entry point, maybe it's more valuable than we sometimes give it credit for.
Sets the stage for everything else.
Exactly. Something to think about.